I don't know what a Bitcrusher pedal does, but I saw one in Guitar Center and it was selling secondhand, and it looked pretty cool, and it got the sense that it's some kind of retro 80s early digital kind of sound. So it's going to sound like an old computer game or something like that. Basic primitive digital sounds. And I thought, okay, I'll try that out. So this is it. So you have a volume knob, straightforward enough. How loud do you want to be? Blend, all dry signal, or just entirely the affected signal, or some sort of mix. That's straightforward for most pedals. From there it gets a bit weird. So bit depth, as you turn the bit depth clockwise, the bit depth is reduced, which means the sound's going to get noisier and distorted. The sample rate, as you turn that clockwise, the sample rate is also reduced, and that gets more ringing or glitchy, which I'm interested to hear what that sounds like. There's a toggle switch for high pass filter, band pass filter, or low pass filter, and it's used in conjunction with the knob. So if you have high frequency pass and you set the frequency filter pretty high, then anything above that level is going to pass through, everything below is cut. If you have the toggle switch for low pass filter and you set the switch really low, then anything below that filter is going to be passed through, and anything above is going to be cut. So depending on low or high pass on the toggle switch, and then you use that filter knob, you can allow a lot of frequencies to pass or not very many frequencies to pass. And then the band pass frequency, anything in that band will pass through the filter, anything above and below will be filtered out. And then the filter peak, the resonance of the mainframe filter, increasing it by turning it clockwise gives you a sharper, more cutting tone. So that all makes sense when you read it in terms of what the words are saying, but really it's not going to make much sense until you try it out. So let's just see. So there's not a lot going on here. The settings are very low. Nothing is I'm not expecting any weird sounds. Let's start playing with some of the knobs here. So I'm increasing the bit depth. Kind of distortion sound. I'm not sure I'm crazy about it. It's definitely not like it doesn't sound like an overdrive or a fuzz or a distortion pedal. It's definitely sounds like a tinny lo-fi early hi-fi speaker that's been overloaded. It does have a certain charm. it gives you all kinds of weird broken sounding effects, as if your speaker's totally blown, but in a way that still actually is kind of rich and textured and interesting. That's isolating some frequencies that are almost making my eardrum melt. This is like the end of a weird Pavement song, or something on a Sonic Youth record. Or almost like right before Wish You Were Here, where the radio signal tunes out. And that's kind of what this is doing. It's giving you an old transistor radio feeling, or an old blown speaker feeling, or in some of the arpeggios I was doing earlier, almost like an old 48K or 64K computer from the 80s and early 90s doing a soundtrack for a computer game, where there's a limited amount of tone and texture it can bring in these tiny little speakers with not a lot of memory or bit rate, and it's kind of the feeling it gets. It also reminds me a little bit of Pulling Teeth, that bass solo from one of the early Metallica albums. And what I was doing earlier, just in terms of the sheer over-distorted, blown, fuzzy feeling of it. So increasing the sample rate gives you a more glitchy kind of tone, apparently. It does sound glitchy is a good word for that. destroyed at that point, but that's actually kind of cool, and it's something you might want to use at a gig or in a recording. Great. It's just weird and unpredictable. I like weird and unpredictable. Like, the sound was totally destroyed. The signals were just totally corrupted, and now this is like playing underwater. Toggle switch at low pass frequency, so anything below where the frequency knob is set is going to pass through, anything above is cut. But I have the bit depth, the sample rate, and the peak set pretty high, so it's doing the maximum damage to the signal, and then the low pass frequency is only sending a little bit through, so you get maximum damage to not a lot of the frequencies that are getting through, and that's why you're getting this really weird cut out minimalistic underwater sound. I think I've damaged my eardrum just from some of these frequencies. Signal damage and the high frequency pass, you're really getting tinny and trebly, and it starts to hurt the ear a little bit. But in the range, there are some interesting, intriguing sounds. Again, this is not a critical pedal on your pedal board, I don't think, but it definitely is something to experiment with.